So, pretty much, man, just want to say congrats on the episodes, man.
Appreciate
Dude,
it.
if you ever leave CC, like, honestly, man, fight me. Because, I mean, I think about your 30th birthday, right? Which
Yeah,
man, she,
yeah.
she
She
killed it.
turned it out. She
And
turned it
then
out.
to have almost 100 people check in, give you your flowers, give you your roses,
Yeah,
dude, that's just like, that's amazing, bro. And then hearing your mom and your dad, you know, give you your roses as well, and to hear your father say, "Dude, I'm proud of you." Like
telling
when
you, bro.
I wanted to cry, man. I'm like, man, I can't cry.
Hey, man. Hey, that's what. Like I
Yeah,
said in the show, man. That's what every young boy
man.
lives for. Even though like while you living and while you doing your
Yeah,
thing, you really don't know how much you yearn for your father
right,
to say that he proud of you. You know what I
right.
mean? Until it happens, and then you like, wow. So that's what that feels like. So, and again, don't get me wrong. My dad he's been like that my entire life. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But me as a 36-year-old man at this point,
yeah,
like I said, man, when my dad tell me he proud of me, man, it shrinks me down pretty seriously. So, yeah,
man.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
I know
Pretty
that feeling,
cool.
the Dallas dude. I was actually like taking all the trash out of our apartment, and I was on the phone with my dad. And when he said that, dude, like it almost like lit a fire in me, like, and I almost like wanted to cry, like, and it was just a few words, man, like, I'm proud of you, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, man.
I think we
Yeah.
need to definitely, man, because when you're doing bad, people gonna let you know what I
Oh, no
mean? It's just,
question. Yeah.
doing good. It's kind of rare because people can, assume you're okay. But like I said, coming up 100 episodes, man, definitely. I think that's hard to do because a lot of people um, say they want to start building content, and I don't think they probably underestimate how much work goes into it. And man, to
Yeah.
see you when you had me on, you had the equipment, and I remember when you said, you know, hey man, I'm gonna start this podcast thing, and you was just, you hit the ground running, you know. So question in your toolbox, man, as a business coach, entrepreneur, and so the other many hats you wear. Would you advise like somebody who would wanna, start a podcast, like you start them from start to finish now, that hey, if you wanna, build some traction, start building
Yeah.
content, this is what you need to do.
Yeah. So just to go back to what you said, man, when we first started,
Uh-huh.
we didn't necessarily know where we were going with it. And that's okay. Right. We never really had a rock solid plan, so to speak. We wanted the show to develop on its own organically and kind of become whatever it was going to become. Um, 100 episodes is a milestone, yes, but it's definitely not the end, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about podcasting specifically,
Hmm.
what you're doing is you are building a body of work.
Hmm.
Okay, so you may think you have content. Like I didn't
Right.
know if I had enough content. You may think you have content. You may think you have enough, but you may only have enough for a blog post, or you may only have enough for an article, right? You may not have enough for a
Right.
podcast, to be
Hmm.
honest. So I would look at, you know, what makes you different, what makes you special, because
Yeah.
ultimately that's what's going to come out on the recording. You can't BS your way through
Right.
a podcast. We've seen it done. We've seen people try to do it, and their shows don't last very long, a few weeks, right?
Right.
Uh, the magic number is 7. Like 7 episodes, for whatever reason, is extremely difficult for most podcast creators to achieve. 7
Yeah.
episodes. So typically, when you see somebody that's starting a show,
Hmm.
they usually chalk it up either right at 7 or right after 7,
And those
right?
are
So
like
I would
numbers.
say that again. You kind of cut out.
So those are like actual like numbers that people have,
Yeah,
like,
7,
okay,
episode 7.
7.
Episode
Okay.
7 is it's a hump for whatever reason. Episode 7 is a hump, right?
Okay.
So you definitely want to make sure that you want to make sure that you can sustain,
Yeah.
right? And that's really what me and Cece always talk about is, yeah, we can do a great launch, we can do a great 1-2
Right.
punch. I had the first 5 episodes in the bag already,
Okay.
right? And that was a ton of content, but it's everything after that. How long can you sustain? And then when you get to, episode 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, now you like, okay, I got to dig deeper because I already talked about that. I already talked about that. I already talked about that too.
Yeah.
Right. So you just got to keep digging.
Okay.
So first and foremost, make sure you're serious about it.
Man.
You got to commit. You know what I'm saying? You got to,
Right.
if you're going to do it, do it.
Right.
If not, then stop talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to do it, do it.
Yeah.
So
that's cool, man. Like I said, for the most part, I try to tune in every week. I want to say by far,
appreciate it.
when I listened to the 100th episode, as people were like backtracking, saying like, "Hey, this one was my episode." I want to say my favorite was episode 21. I think Burn the Ships. Man, that isn't it? Is it something Anderson? I forget.
Andrew Tudor.
Andrew Tudor. Okay, I don't know it's Anderson, but
Andrew Tudor, bruh. No, but seriously though, yeah.
Man, from start to finish, man. And if you guys are listening, man, like I said, I'm talking to Mark Knotts. He's the host of the School of Hard Knocks podcast, and he hosts a weekly podcast on Monday surrounding business coaching, entrepreneurship, and just life. This is my brother. I learned so much from him. I think the most I've learned from Mark was just about life more than business. I learned business from Mark a lot, like some entrepreneurship skills and tips. But man, I remember a long time ago, I don't know if we were having a conversation or it was in a podcast, but I think you were saying like, everybody should find a place that nobody else knows about.
Yep.
Where you
like
and
a physical place.
Man, something like piece of nature or somewhere where just like it's just your safe place. And people don't understand how important that is to get away, because I figure, man, that 1 hour, 30 minutes you do take, just to get away, I feel like it's a good recharge, man. And even the little subtle gems that you just drop out there, I don't even think you mean it. But man, Mark, I'll say you're a guy, you definitely got to have a pen and paper around because you're going to learn something. But man, I remember you saying, man, with a 2030 you, be proud of the 2020 you, just stuff like that. I don't think you be hearing it, but it just comes and it flies, man. It's like, man, you've been a true asset to my life, and people that are like around you, and even going back to the 100th episode, the fact that you've gathered that that many people. I'm like, man, dude, Mark Knox learned from not learned, but I would imagine that as you do the podcast, you do
man.
But the fact that you know that many people and like you can bring that many people together, man, it's just awesome, man. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to like some type of reunion where we can all be doing the same together, man.
Right, it's already in the works.
You see there?
Already in the works. I had a meeting with Cece earlier today about that.
Man. Hey, Quite Escape, you might be dropping a book as well. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's me. Are you going out?
Can
you see me?
Yeah, no, I can definitely see you. I'm back though. If I left, I'm back. Yeah, let me unplug.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man, another thing too, man. Like when it comes to real estate, you just got the investment property.
Yeah, man.
Do you feel like if somebody came to you, they wanted to learn about the hard money process, they wanted to learn about dealing with contractors, contracts, and the whole finding residents. Do you think somebody who's trying to go down that path, you could probably show them a thing or two and probably help them get to that next level as well?
Yeah, I got you. I'm here. So I heard your question. So you got to be careful, right? Because when you're in a process and you're actively learning about a process,
Yeah.
To put yourself in a position as a teacher is
Yeah.
very difficult, right?
Yeah.
Because you and that other person are essentially going to be learning
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
Right? And
True.
honestly, that's dangerous, like, because you're supposed to be advising them.
Yeah. You still there?
You got me?
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you may actually end up stunting their growth because
Mm.
you're learning in that process. See, the fact that when you're trying to teach somebody, you need to be a couple steps ahead of them. So I'm not saying you got to be a master about it, but
Right.
you need to have experienced more so that you can
Mm.
advise them when situations don't go as planned. So I would say
Right.
I can tell you about my process, right?
Yeah.
But I can't advise somebody on their specific process just because I haven't seen enough yet, right? So
Okay.
all I can tell you is what I did, and then hopefully
Right.
somebody could glean from that and say, all right, well, that's what Mark did, it worked. Maybe I'll try that too. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Definitely, man. I understand. Like, I mean, you definitely are not a rookie when it comes to real estate. You've been through the
When it
home
comes,
buying process, purchase investment property, things of that nature. And I don't think little do you know throughout that process and just kind of hearing you learn about it, um,
yeah,
through it, you taught me something. Like you were saying that,
okay,
hey, when it comes to uh, finalizing a leasing agreement, you add some type of trip fee, in that, or some type of, surcharge if something is going on with the property or whatnot. And that's something
yeah,
that I've never thought about. I thought that was something that maybe would scare, a potential resident away. You know, so you in fact
yeah,
taught me something. You know what I
yeah.
mean? What would you say
And
your wait?
say that again.
I said, what would you say your biggest takeaway is when it comes to
Man,
when it came to the process, man?
my biggest takeaway when it comes to the process is, number
Mm.
one, you got to know your numbers,
Yeah.
inside out, upside down. And
Mm.
you don't have to know your numbers just to
Mhm.
know your numbers, but you got to know your numbers because they're gonna change,
Mm.
right? So if you don't know what they were, then you don't know how much they changed. They're gonna change. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have unforeseen costs somewhere. So
Right.
you have to know what your numbers were to begin with in order to know how much they changed, how much they went up, basically,
Yeah.
right? And then you got to plan for that. So for me, it was understanding holding costs, right?
Mm.
Holding costs was the big one, right? So for example, I had renovation for my property.
Mhm.
I had it scheduled for 45 days. Now, realistically, my contractor told me 45 days. I scheduled it for 90. I figured that was enough time,
Right.
right? I wound up holding the property for 6 months,
Mm.
right? So double of what I had planned for. So
Right.
that essentially doubled my holding costs,
Mm.
right? Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was weather, there was contractor scheduling issues, there was supply issues. I mean, there
Mhm.
was just things happening. Obviously, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so that had a lot to do with it. But yeah, you have to know your numbers, right? And then on the back end, when the property was absolutely finished and ready
Mm.
to be rented, um, you need to set expectations with your potential tenants,
Yeah.
like flat out. Like I told the people who toured my property, I said, listen, this home is 100 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, bro.
Right.
That you laugh every time I say that, but literally, this home is 100 years old. This home was built in
Because sometimes you
19.
understand. I feel like if
No,
you
seriously,
said
it
that,
was
you said enough.
enough.
Like,
It was built in 1916, bro. Like that serious. The original structure was built in 1916. Okay, so I told him, I said, listen, it's 100 years old. There's
right.
going to be things that you noticed as someone that's living here that I'm not going to notice as somebody who comes, even if I come every day and spend a couple
Yeah.
hours. You're going to
Yeah.
live here. Like
Right.
you're going to hear the house move. You're going to smell, you're going to smell stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Man, right.
so I set the expectation, but I also told him, I said, listen, I'm committed to making this place comfortable for you. And my philosophy is if I wouldn't live there, I wouldn't expect you to live there.
Mm.
Okay. So the moment you see something, hear something, smell something that don't seem right, you gotta call me. You gotta
Right.
call me.
Right.
And I'll take care of it. Like that's my philosophy, right? It's setting that expectation because you know what I tell my tenant is, you know, my house, your home,
Yeah.
right? Like I own it, but this is your home. So
Mhm.
therefore, you got to take care of it like it's your home. I'll take
Right.
care of the big stuff because that's my responsibility. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it comes down to you and how you treat this place, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, man. Lessons learned for sure. Still learning lessons. Still learning lessons.
I think it's gonna be like I don't even think you can learn everything that you could learn when it comes to real estate because for one, technology could play a part in it. We don't know how technology is going to affect real estate. Every market, every transaction, every house,
Yeah,
it's different. And I think
yeah,
as situations rise, it's like, okay, how am I gonna handle this? Because this situation probably might not look like the previous two, three, four, or five. And
for sure.
you hit something on nail too. I think people have. I saw this post where they said it was coming more so from a realtor angle, but it was saying that what is your biggest, I guess, frustration or something that you tend to deal with that you probably absolutely hate, and I think
Hmm.
it was unrealistic expectations.
No, no
I don't.
question.
I think people don't realize that, man. You're living in a man-made product that's like dying slowly every day. You know what I'm saying? It's been like you know what I'm saying. It's little by little. You
Yeah,
know, and I think people realize that you know unless you're in like the luxury market, which is not it's not many renters in the luxury market that you can't expect that place to be like heaven
well,
or
even so, think about this. It's used.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
not 9 times out of 10 when you rent a home or even when
yeah,
you buy a home. Most people that buy homes don't buy brand new homes,
right,
right?
yeah,
So when you rent a house or you buying a house that's from
uh,
someone, it's a used house.
right,
Like we've seen used cars before.
yeah,
People only drive those to work and to back and forth to the grocery store. We talking about a used house, something that somebody spent majority of their time in. It's gonna have some issues. Even bruh, new houses, right? So in
yeah,
2012,
hmm,
we bought a brand new construction house in 2012.
hmm,
Okay, and in 2019, we bought a previously owned a used house. I can
hmm,
tell you right now that the 2019 house
hmm,
is built 10 times better, even though it's excuse me, even though the 2019 house is literally
hmm,
18 years old,
yeah,
it's built 10 times better than the 2012 house.
mm,
And you can blame that on whatever
right,
craftsmanship, technology. You can blame it on whatever. But
products,
bruh,
whatever,
when I'm in my 2019 house that was built in 19 freaking, I mean it was built in like 2002.
hmm,
I don't hear the wind blow outside, right? I don't hear the rain beating on the roof.
hmm.
Like it's bro, it's just it holds heat better. Like I don't know why, right? But
He said, I
again,
don't-
use houses, you gotta
yeah,
understand. Like they come with their ups and downs. New houses, they come with their ups and downs, but you have to adjust your expectations. Houses are built by people. They're not built by machines. Like
exactly,
you wouldn't expect your car doors to not line up, right? Right? Because it's built by a machine. Well, guess what?
right,
When you buy a new house or even a used house, if you're
mhm,
gonna live in that house for 6 months, some doors might start sticking, the jams might start sticking because that
right,
joint's settling. Like it is what
yeah,
it is. Built by humans on dirt. Like
hey, yeah. It's like what you expect. So I think unrealistic expectations, but that's good though that you at least you prime that you prime potential scenarios and you at least had that conversation to kind of set those expectations,
yeah,
and that does help a lot of people because like just I don't know, man, we're human, we're selfish, and sometimes we just have unrealistic expectations. Like it just don't work like that.
that's like all of life. Everybody's here's what me and my wife say. Expectation up here.
Yeah.
Reality is down here.
Man.
Everything in the middle is disappointment.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just you gotta adjust.
Yeah. So Mark, man, I'm gonna get back to one question that I think you asked somebody, and somebody has asked you, and I heard you deliver it like just like nobody else could, man. And it was who qualifies you, man? Who qualified Mark Knox?
You did hear me deliver that, didn't you?
Who? Mark Knox, man. We're gonna make it a little bit different, right?
Okay.
You know, who qualified you to do business coaching and to even start a podcast?
Yeah. You know what's funny, man, is I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Right? I really do. I think about it all the time. First of all, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold no punches. I'm not even gonna be humble in this moment. Like I'm just gonna tell you flat out. I'm gonna tell you flat out, bro. I'm a super smart dude. Like I ain't even gonna lie. Like I'm super smart. But even more importantly than being smart, I'm clever.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like I'm like, bruh. And how do I know this? It's because some of the stuff I say, it blows people's minds. And it don't blow mine. It just comes out.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why do I think I'm so smart? Well, because again, the situations I've been in, I don't just experience them. I study them.
Mm.
Right? So when I see a business going through problems, or when I see an entrepreneur going through issues, or when I'm going through issues, or when my wife's business going through issues, I study the problem. And most people they live in the problem, they experience it, they get stressed out. It is what it is. I'm actually sitting back trying to analyze what exact moment went wrong.
Yeah.
That took this process on that path. Okay. So number one, I study business. I don't just experience it. Right. I study your business. I study the real estate business. I study the hair care industry because of my wife. I study the audio video business because of what I do. Like I study business. Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, again, the experiences I've been in. So I've worked corporately for some pretty serious companies. And one being Sony, like everybody knows Sony, SONY, Japanese electronics manufacturer. What I was exposed to when I worked there was every situation I had to deal with marketing, every situation that had to deal with sales, every situation that had to deal with distribution, manufacturing, branding, everything. I was exposed to all of that and I studied it. I paid attention, right? And that's not a local joker company. That's a global, like a global enterprise to the degree that we don't even understand how big that company is, right? So that's two things that make me qualified. The third thing that made me qualified is when I put out a podcast, people listen to it.
Facts.
When I do business coaching, people pay for it. That makes me a professional. I get paid to do something. I'm a pro. Right? So you know, to button that all up, I get results, man.
Yeah.
I get results. Like when my coaching clients know, I hold them accountable. I challenge them. If they do what I suggest, it works. Like, no, you good. No, if they do what I suggest they do, it works. Like I said, I mean, in that moment with that question, I can't just sit here and be humble and be like, well, I don't know. I've been fortunate enough. Nah, bro. Nah. I'm sweet, dude. I'm sweet. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm sweet.
So when it comes to some of the clients that come for business coaching or entrepreneurship or whatever.
Yeah.
What is like, I understand every client is probably different. Everybody probably needs a different solution or help. Like, do you see like a common thing from each?
Oh yeah.
Each clients and
no question. Yeah. So here's the thing, man. Every business is absolutely different. Even you take two businesses that do the same thing, they are totally different. Right? But what is the same is our mentality and our mindset about how we approach business,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're all humans. We all have emotions. We all have ups and downs, struggles. We all need to be motivated. We all need to be encouraged, so on
Right.
and so forth. That does not change. So my job is to, number one, assess your natural behavioral traits. And that's what I do through the DISC assessment.
Okay.
Assess your natural behavioral traits and help you tailor your business decisions based on your traits.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna tell you what your superpowers are. You might be a pilot, you might be a flight attendant, you might be a grounds crew, or you might be an air traffic controller, right? If you don't want to know what those means, go back and listen to, I think, like episode 85 or something like that. But we classify you there, and then from there, I help you make decisions based on that. Because, like, for example, when we did your assessment, you came out to be a 99% pilot, which means you're in the driver's seat, you driven, you motivated, but at the same time, people might think you're a jerk because you are so task oriented, you are so like pointed and driven, right? But when it comes to like how you relate to people, you were lacking in that category. So back then we was like, all right, well, maybe your wife needs to communicate and help you in business a little bit more because she has the ability to soften some of your edges when you're communicating. You see what I'm saying?
Because when we did ours, we were totally opposite, correct? Like,
yeah, you were complimentary though, which is excellent. Okay. You were complimentary, which is why y'all struggle to communicate sometimes because y'all speak in different languages.
Definitely.
You see what I'm saying? But both of y'all know now what y'all's natural behavioral traits are. So now you can make those adjustments. And that's my job as a business coach is to change the way you thinking. Right. So I say my brand of coaching is personal development for business success. I'm gonna be your head coach. Yeah. And once I'm your head coach, I can then help you excel into business. But we got to deal with your mindset first.
So is that pretty much like the genesis of any consultation that you do? You pretty much start with the DISC assessment, just to really like, confirm like what how they operate, how they function, what is the engine.
So that's the first thing we do. That's the first thing we do is a DISC assessment. We run down all of the personality traits, tell you your superpowers, tell you your blind spots, and then we start dealing with the issues. What issues are you having in business? And then 9 times out of 10, based on the assessment, I can tell you why you're having those issues, right? So yeah.
So what? I'm not sure if you're this far yet. What type of what's in the works for the School of Hard Knocks podcast? Like, what kind of guests do you have coming up next? You got any? I don't know, a singer, somebody who bake cookies. What you got coming up?
Great question. So what I'm trying to do, man, is number one, when I have people on the show, we really take a lot of time to figure out how that person's story is going to benefit our listener.
Okay.
So we don't just have people on the show just to have them on the show, right? We want to know your story, and we want to be able to tell your story so that you can relate to the listener. And I still feel like a lot of our past guests, there's still more that we can pull out of them. Okay. So what you're going to see a lot over the next season, the next 50 episodes, is you're going to see more groups of past guests and some new guests sprinkled in.
Okay.
Because the magic happens, Jaran, when I get 2 or 3 different disciplines of businesses all on the same show.
Okay.
That's where the magic happens, right? So I'm gonna start bringing in, 3 other people plus myself, and we're gonna have a topic and chop it up. We did it. I want to say it was episode 89 or 79 or something like that. It was about networking, where we had 3 people on the show who I felt were great at networking, and we brought them in and we chopped it up. And again, that's where the magic happened. You're also gonna see some people on the show that you wouldn't necessarily think that like Black people do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what does that mean?
Like, so let me preface it by saying this: the show was never meant to just talk about Black folks and just talk about Black business, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about all business. Business is universal. However, when we started on the process and we looked at our listeners and we looked at the engagement we were getting, it just so happened, shocking,
Yeah.
that that's who, you know, is looking at us. So no problem. I don't have
Right.
any problem being an African American business show. That don't bother me at all.
Yeah.
But there are some types of businesses that you don't necessarily see Black people doing. For example, I have a young lady coming on over the next couple months that is the assistant stable manager at a stable, like a horse stable.
Okay.
And so she's all
I
into,
wouldn't.
bruh, she all into equestrian. She knows everything about horses. She takes care of, I think, 35 horses.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
And she does lessons. She does, I mean, bruh, and listen, it's her passion. It's her absolute passion. That's a whole segment of the market that is untapped by African Americans. Is equestrian, is horses. I don't know any Black people that own a horse. Do you? I mean, like you're in Texas, you might, right? I mean, we seen Concrete Cowboys.
Randomly, just brother, just randomly on a horse, but that was the one.
You know what I'm saying? You see what we seen Concrete Cowboys, right? So we know they're out there, right?
Yeah.
But realistically, to turn that into a business is something that we've never seen before. At least I've never seen before. So we definitely gonna have her on the show. We're going to. He said Rick Ross. I'm sure Rick Ross got horses, alligators, camels. He probably got everything.
I've never seen Rick Ross.
No, it's hilarious. That's funny, bro.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
So, but seriously, think about this, bro. So the young lady, my wife does her hair. She invited us out to go horseback riding. I start asking questions because you know me, I'm like, yo, what I got to do to get one?
Hey, how?
You know what I'm saying? So she's like, yeah, like, you know, people sell horses all the time, whatever. You know, horses can range from $2,500 to over $100,000. Just depends on what you want to do with the horse. She said it usually costs between $600 and $1,000 to board the horse, to have it live at a stable, right? I'm like, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
Like, even if you just wanted to buy your kid a horse so that they could get into, you know, the equestrian horseback riding deal, that's really not that bad. You know?
Yeah.
$5,000-$6,000 for a horse, $1,000 a month for room and board. That's not bad.
I wouldn't expect that type of guest to be on the show, but that's a good way, man. I think that speaks to your creativity, man, your flavor, which I think is unmatched, man. Like, just seeing, like, Mark, you wear so many hats, man. It's remarkable, bro. I don't know how you do it, man, but, you know, from from afar, man, I've learned so much from you. Then again, to people who are tuned in, I'm talking to Mark Knox, host of the School of Hard Knocks podcast. There's personal development, business coaching. You know, this dude is a Swiss Army knife. So if you're interested, man, please contact him. He can be found at School of Hard Knocks. There's a few underscores in there. Maybe you can drop it in the comments for everybody. But you know, going back to business, a question that I was recently asked a few weeks ago, it was what famous person would you want to have a coffee with or dinner with that's out there, and why? If you could have like an hour conversation with them.
Yeah. The one that comes to this off top, and it's, you know, I don't want to sound cliche, but I've been reading about him a lot lately. Is Elon Musk. Man. Yeah. And yeah, we understand he's a billionaire. We get it. Like, but if you notice, he's kind of low key in a sense. Like, you see him doing his Tesla stuff like all day, like, cool, right? Yeah. But he's not like, let's just say it doesn't seem like he is a part of the club. Right? So if I say the club, I'm, you know, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, I believe they pick up the phone and talk to each other. They're part of the club. Right? Richard Branson, like, but when I think about Elon Musk, I look at him as maybe a slight outsider in a sense. Yeah. And you never really hear about him spending a ton of personal money on personal things. Not to say that it's bad if you do, but you
Right.
never really see pictures of his house. You never really see pictures of him on a yacht. You never see, you understand what I'm saying? And I
Right.
think even if he has that stuff, great, but he doesn't put that persona out there. He puts out more of a persona of, this is what I'm trying to do to completely change the world.
Mm.
Right? So
Post that he was like on some iRobot type stuff. Remember that movie?
he was on some iRobot stuff, bro. And the rumor is his primary residence is like a tiny house right outside of the factory in Texas, in Austin. Yeah, like he lives in a tiny house like right outside of a battery factory in Austin. Like, and again, it's not that I would want to have a conversation with him to see how to make money.
Right.
It's I would want to have a conversation with him to see what his mindset is, to where he does not see limits at all. He doesn't see any limits. He doesn't see any boundaries. He's like, if I think it, I can do it.
Man. The fact that, like, I was just thinking, like, a Tesla can, like, just sell, like, it can drive itself. Like, that is just, like,
Yeah.
that's mind-blowing to
But
me.
somebody had to think of that, right? And I
Yeah.
believe it. Let's just say it was him.
Man.
Somebody had to think, like, he was like, you know what? He's like, people have made electric cars before,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to make one that looks good, goes fast,
Yeah.
and people actually like.
Mm.
And he did it. He straight up
Man.
did it.
Oh, it's mind-blowing. It's just like, the world is changing so fast and rapidly before our eyes. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think enough people, like, understand it, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it goes back to that, kind of like what you said, man, with the 2030 you, be proud of the 2020 you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And it comes down to our daily habits. Like, what are we studying? Like, are we being a good visionary with that, man? And just kind of, I want to say the title of your podcast, No End in Sight, dude, I'm just excited to see, like, the next phase, the next series of episodes for the School of Hard Knocks podcast, kind of what you have in store, and, like, man, like, what's the new people that, you're going to introduce the listeners to. And
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
man, like I said, that episode 21, and I think it was another episode, I think it was an educator on there. I can't think of her name.
Was she a PhD? Was it Dr.
I think
Letitia Bates?
her podcast is really good too.
Oh man, because she was talking about. And you know what's funny, man, is that was one of the first episodes where we really talked candidly about race.
Okay, yeah, that's
yeah.
the episode. That's the episode. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I had another one like right around the George Floyd incident. I had another one that I talked candidly about race, but it was just me, right?
Okay.
But the one with her, man, coming from a PhD,
Yeah.
like, bruh, she studies this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, for sure.
I was between episode 21. I forget which episode she was on.
Let me see here.
I think those are my two favorite episodes. So anybody who watches this live, or if anybody's tuning in now, please check out the School of Hard Knocks podcast.
Yeah,
man, dropping fresh content every Monday. Man.
Yo, hey, dude, that's the part right there, bro.
Yeah,
that's the part right there. That's probably what I'm most proud of, man. What I'm most proud of in terms of the show. Obviously, the guests have been phenomenal. I don't know why my camera crooked, but is the fact that we release every single Monday without any interruptions. We don't take any breaks. We've had, bro, no excuses, bro. We done had a pandemic.
Right.
My wife's salon got closed down for 2 months.
Man.
And we've had twins. And we've never missed a Monday. Now you just got to plan. Sometimes, bro, there's been Sunday evenings where I'll record 3 episodes in a row because I know we got vacation coming up. I got this coming up. And I just record them and I upload them and I schedule them to release, because that's what you have to do to remain consistent. And I got people that's counting on me. Like, I got people that listen to the show every single week, and they do it while they working out, or they do it while they driving their kids to school, whatever. And if it's not there, they get confused, they get concerned.
Right.
They expecting a new episode. I mean, we changed the cover art the other day. So it updated in Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all of that. And the picture is different. Same show, picture's different. I'm waiting on somebody to be like, yo, what you doing? What happened? Like, calm down. We just changed the cover art, you know? But
Would you
yeah,
say
man.
this is the hardest part, like of doing like week in and week out, or like having like a truly successful podcast?
You say consistency?
Would you say that's the hardest part?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No question about it. For me personally, again, it's a gift. The content comes.
Yeah.
The content is there, bro. I got the content right here. You know what I mean? I hit record and I just start talking. So the content has not been as difficult. It's the consistency part. There's been a lot of weeks where I just didn't feel like recording. I just didn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got 3 kids, a wife, 2 businesses. Like, I just didn't feel like recording. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I didn't have the I didn't have the self-confidence in that moment to feel like I could add value to somebody else's life. Right? I might have took some licks that week to where I'm on one knee, and then I got to get on the show and try to motivate somebody. Well, you're going to hear that come out in certain episodes. I got a whole episode on here about, man, this was right when the pandemic started. Got a whole episode on here, bro, about mental health, bro. Like my mental health. I wasn't even talking about nobody else. I was talking about me.
So, when you guys were talking about how Marquez, I went to started first day of preschool. Was it that episode, the most recent one?
No. That was 2 days ago. That one was deep too. But the one I'm talking about was literally me not being able to like conjure up enough energy to like do anything. Because again, that's when COVID first started. Everybody's stuck in the house. I'm looking for it now. Everybody's stuck in the house.
Episode where I think you talked about a little bit. You kind of prefaced the whole scenario. I think you were saying that you had a conversation with your wife, and I think I guess to sum it up, she basically said, "Hey, you better get you better get to recording." Was it that one? Like you was just like, "Man, I don't Was it that one?
It probably was. What I'm talking about is episode 58. It's called "In My Own Head."
Okay.
Is what it is. Yeah, man. There's been so many, because I try to record on Sunday evenings.
Yeah.
Right around 8:00. And for those of you who've interviewed, you know that I set up my interviews for 8 p.m. on Sunday evenings, most of them. And man, you have a great day, but you're just tired. You're just tired, man. Sunday night football is on. You know what I mean? You just don't feel like doing that. Bro, man, it's been a few times where my wife would just be like, Cece would be like, yo, go ahead. Like, just go down there and hit record and see what happens. Like, you got to do it. Like, I'm not going to let you not do it. You know?
That's cool, man. Like, at least routine down pack. And, like, it's kind of like you got a system. Like, all right.
You got to. Yeah.
This is my time. Well, even if it's just 30 minutes or even just 15 minutes, the fact that you still deliver fresh, new content that you can, like, really just add value to somebody's life and situation. And I feel like, dude, like I said, it's a Swiss Army knife, dude. Like, it's just not even about business, but just life. The fact that you talk about mental health and the guests that you bring on, they come from different walks of life and they have different businesses. And it's just so much value, man. It's just like, it's unbelievable, man. But like I said, I didn't really doubt you when you said you want to start a podcast. But the fact that I'm more amazed at the time frame that you just like. I'm like, yesterday he started one, but it's like you qualified. I remember when, man, like, so that question that I asked Mark about who qualified you is really kind of a joke to us, but nevertheless, it's something that to everybody's listening. Mark and his wife Cece, they were doing more so. I think it was more so like relationship oriented type of content on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I was just amazed that like I said, I learned so much from this dude. But nevertheless, a listener got on there and I don't think she was affiliated. I don't even think we didn't really know her like that. But
I didn't either. She came out of nowhere, bro.
Man, just
Came out of nowhere.
we just had the audacity. It was like the audacity to say, "Who qualified you to talk about relationships?" And I'm like, "Hey, this about to get like, it's about to get." And I'm like, man, dude, how's Mark about to like respond to this? There's no question in my mind that he's not qualified to talk about this stuff. But I was just like curious to know, like, how is Mark going to respond to this? Because, I mean, let's be honest, you can go like you can keep it the professional route, which you did, or you can just be like, what you like, you know what I'm saying? You can just start like just going off on a tangent. But this dude went down a line of authentic experiences that he's actually been through and gotten through. Like it was amazing. Said, well, I'll let you know what qualifies me. I dealt with infertility. I've been a pastor of a church. I had to, pretty much officiate my wife's, funeral of my wife's family. We have a business. I have my wife, her. So like he was just going down a list. Like, man, the fact that like it was just quiet and crickets after that, it kind of like it just made her look silly for even asking that question. But that's what I value about having a relationship with you, because like everything that you said, it was all facts. There's a lot of people who, I don't want to say unqualified, but you take any one of those situations, it's enough to like have a ripple effect on a relationship. Like, and just like call it quits. Like, all right, I dealt with a layoff when I worked in corporate, so now I can be mad at my wife and we can everything going to shambles. It's like no, through that he's gotten through it.
Yeah, bro. Hey, listen, the crazy part was as I'm saying the list, bro.
Yeah.
More and more things kept on popping into my head. So the list is getting longer as I'm saying, because I never really had went through the list before, because nobody's ever asked me that before, right? so the list is getting longer. It's getting longer. It's getting longer. And when we got off the phone, me and Cece looked at each other and was like, "Yo,
right?
Like we've been through enough to sink 2 or 3 marriages,
man.
You know what I'm saying? Like we should be done. You know what I mean?
So I have a question. Thinking back to that moment,
the
list that you generated, which is your actual life.
My actual life, dude.
First thing, is that how you wanted to respond? Like, you know what I'm saying? Was that your initial reaction? Like off the jump?
All right, so check me out. So when somebody says that you don't know, it automatically puts you in a very defensive posture.
Man.
Because you feel like somebody is coming.
I got to ask me.
But that's because you're my guy, so you felt it, right? But they push you in a defensive posture, and because it's like, yo, like I'm being called to the carpet right now.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're being called to the carpet, the question is, do you sink or do you swim? Am I actually an imposter? Or do I have the receipts? Like, am I legit or am I an imposter? So I had to just say it like, listen, I'm the truth. And this is why. This is why. Right? Yes, me and Cece got married. Me and Cece got engaged when she was a junior in college. Her family didn't like that too much. Right? We were eating ramen noodles. we were eating ramen noodles. Yes. I quit my job on my honeymoon. Okay. Let's see. Let me make sure we good. Yeah. I quit my job on my honeymoon. Came home unemployed. All right. Yes, I got laid off 4 times within 2 years from a company. 4 times within 2 years. I got laid off right after we bought a brand new house. Brand new house. Okay. Bro, everything in between, dealing with infertility for 7 years, foster care system,
right?
Adoption, death of a parent that you had alluded to. I officiated my father-in-law's funeral, right? Because honestly, there wasn't too many other people that were qualified in that moment, right? I mean, the list just kept on getting longer and longer, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself like, I am qualified. So let me own it. Let me own it. So I'm gonna tell her, eloquently, respectfully, and professionally why I'm qualified, because she's not going to be the first person that asks. Because when you put yourself out there, that's what happens. That's what happens. And it's okay. It's okay.
I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I probably would not have responded like you did. And it's so crazy. In that moment, I learned something. Because it's like, okay, it wouldn't do anybody any benefit. We on here talking about relationships. This is the perfect opportunity to perform on how a relationship should operate. Am I gonna respond in love, or am I, where I'm gonna get, you know what I mean? I'm just like,
yeah,
no, he didn't really come on, and ask that question. Like what? But then again, to give her the benefit of the doubt, there are a lot of people, teaching things that maybe they haven't experienced or haven't been through. So I get it. But like, I know that question was not coming, from like a good place.
Yeah, and listen, it's not her fault that half of the other people that she hear about marriage and relationships from on the internet are imposters.
Yeah.
Half the other people she hear about marriage and relationship from have never had a successful marriage. I've been married 12 and a half years.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what it is. Like you're just not getting it. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Half people on the internet talking about real estate don't own nothing, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just listen to everybody else's stuff.
Right.
And all of a sudden they expert.
Man, right. It's just like one of the things where like I think people too, I think you were saying like experience really has to be a teacher. Kind of like how, I asked you about real estate, about, the investment property purchase. I think that was a straight up good, typical Mark Knock answer. Like it was just real. Like, hey,
yeah,
even though you probably don't feel like you qualified, the fact that you even been through it, I think you are. Because the fact that it wasn't your first rodeo when it came to real estate. You purchased homes before, so you've been through that process.
Sure.
But just overall, man, I just think, man, like to see you crack the code, man, with 100 episodes, dude, I'm definitely looking forward to the next 1,000. Like there ain't no end in sight, But we know the School of Hard Knocks podcast is going to transform to other things. I was telling somebody that it's crazy how one risk leads to the next.
Man,
like if I never took the risk and moved to Dallas, Texas, I don't think I would even be in real estate. And that is
no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
And that is a fact. And it's like I'm gonna keep taking risks, man. Calculated risk is that, not a risk for the sake of just taking a risk, but
yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah. So for anybody that's listening, Jaran and I connected here in Cincinnati, where I'm at now, and we connected at church because his wife Googled black churches in Cincinnati.
Black churches in Cincinnati.
And then they showed up. And we connected. But when you decided, when you decided that you were moving to Dallas, I would never forget where I was when you called me. Right, I was in a hotel on a business trip, and I stepped away. You called me and you told me. And what did I say to you? What did I say?
Man, I think it was like you had nothing to lose. I think that's what you said.
I said, dude. I was excited for you.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that, okay, my man about to move away. We'll figure that part out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We'll figure that out. But I was excited for you because I knew that your head, your mentality of where you were, you was in a cage that was way too small.
Yeah.
I can't even call it a box because you could probably bust out of a box. You was in a cage, G. You was in a cage. You was trapped. Right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't wait to see what happens for you, or what happened for you when you moved, man. And when you started telling me about real estate over the phone, I could feel your energy. And I said, I'm going to ask him questions. I'm going to watch. I'm going to learn. I'm going to listen. I'm not going to act like I know everything. I said, I'm going to humble myself to him because I know that he's about to go through some stuff that eventually I might have to go through because I want real estate for myself. So that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. And then when it came to, you became my real estate mentor.
Man.
Flat out. Like, you may not have realized that. And again, I wasn't looking for you to teach me stuff. I was looking for you to tell me where the hazards might be.
Mm-hmm.
Like tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like don't teach me your process. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because your process is different from my process, different from the next man's process. I was
Mm-hmm.
more on some tell me what to look out for. And one of the things you told me early on, you was like, yo, finding a quality contractor is extremely difficult. I didn't even think about that, bro. And you was right. You was right. So that's just an example. And then you, of course, you wrote the book, which I was extremely honored to write the foreword for the book. And I was in the middle of the real estate process as I was reading the book. And one of the things you said was, I think one of the commandments was, do it while you scared or something like that.
Yeah. I think that might. Yeah. Still, why you scared?
And I did it. I read your book in 6 hours.
Mm.
I read it. You sent me the PDF. You said, hey, look through this. I read the book. I gave you some feedback. You was like, okay, man, thank you. Can you write the foreword? Get you the foreword back in what, 4 hours?
Dude, the forward was like within 12 hours. I'm like, dude, what? Man. He said, you
Ain't
do it.
playing.
You got to do it, man.
You got to do it. You got to
Yeah.
do it. So sent that back to you, and it was just like, it's time.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, I'm pulling triggers. Because, bro, I seen so many houses that I could have bought in the investment process, but I just could not pull the trigger. I could not physically. Some in me, it was fear. Was like, this is a great deal. This is a great house. This is a great location. You should
Mm.
probably buy it. And then something was like, find an excuse. Nah, it's too much. It's too much traffic on this street. You know what I'm saying? Find an
Man.
excuse. So when you said do it while you scared, I said, you know what? Jaran was scared when he did it.
Man.
So if I'm scared when I do it, at least I know somebody else that feels how I feel.
Dude, it's funny, man, because it's like the thing about it is that people don't realize that, you know, we all going through something, and we all need somebody. And it's like when you go in the world, when you go in a battle, like I think, dude, you can only call so many like troops and soldiers, man, because everybody's not up for it, man. Like it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
I think you need to be in in the council of advisors, and too, like people, they got receipts. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just worthwhile. You know what I'm saying? People that can just like help you and advise you, and like I said, even you going through your process, like literally, you taught me some things. So, oh man, this app does this. I didn't even know that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or I include this service fee when I do my contract. Like that taught me something. You know what I mean? So, man, like I said, we doing this live. I definitely wanted to introduce, some people that, that follow me, hopefully they can get a chance to know you just a little bit.
Yeah, no question. No question.
Hey, Mark Knox, any closing remarks, man? Something for the people. Hey, listen, usually you do it. I'm kind of, taking your vibe, Any
Yeah, man. Nah,
man.
hey, listen, man. As you get older, bro, like, and granted, I'm 36. Some people would say you're only 36.
Mm.
Other people would say, dang, you 36, right? So it's how you look at it. Glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah.
However, as you get older, you start to realize how much more the value of time increases, right? So yes, time holds the same value regardless of how old you are, because nobody knows when they're going to die, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as you get older, you realize that likely you're getting closer to the end.
Mm.
So you start to make decisions based on getting closer to the end. The closer you get to the end, the more desperate your decisions get, because desperate people make desperate decisions, right?
Yeah.
So before you start to age, before you start to get older, now is the time to position yourself so that when you do get older, your decisions aren't based in desperation, they're based in abundance.
Mm. Mm.
Your whole mind, your whole process of how you make decisions, because that's what life is. Life is decisions. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's day to day. We talking about decisions about what time you're gonna go to bed, what time you're gonna wake up, what you're gonna eat for breakfast, How fast you gonna drive down the expressway is all decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, desperate people make desperate decisions. So how can we put ourselves in a situation where we're never desperate? You don't have to be desperate. That's a choice.
Mm.
And it's all about the decisions you make sooner than later. Like
Yeah.
if you listen to the show, if you listen to episode 100, you hear my dad on there talking about how I influenced his life. My dad is almost twice my age, right? I never thought I could influence my dad through the show. Never thought that. But somehow I was able to do that. He's still making decisions. He's still making changes. He's still making adjustments so that he never puts himself in a desperate situation. Your book, Jaran, my dad read it. I gave it to him for his birthday. He read the book and he made real estate decisions so that he would never put himself in a desperate situation. Never. Right? So again, desperate people make desperate decisions. So you got to desperate proof yourself now. Future proof yourself now. Future proof yourself now.
Yeah.
So that as you age and as you progress, because if God willing, we all gonna get old. We all gonna need some money when we not working. Retirement, Social Security, whatever you banking on. Start making those decisions now. I'm telling you right now, bro, more than anything, what I've been learning the last year and a half since my twins came. Because like I said before, I got a 5-year-old son. When you got one kid, and you about to realize this, Jaran, when you got one kid, you can kind of cheat the system a little bit.
Yeah.
Like when you got one kid, you could put up 50 grand in a money market account and just be like, all right, that's for him. But now I got 3. I can't cheat no more. I can't cheat. I can't, bro. And 2 of them the same age, so their bill's gonna hit at the same time, right? Yeah. So again, what can we do now so that we're not making desperate decisions later? That's the key, bro. Yeah. It's the long game. It's the long game.
Man, and piggybacking off of that, man, I just made a post and it said, in order to guarantee generational wealth later, you have to be a good steward now. Period. And we know stewardship it's all about life decisions.
Yeah.
Being a good manager of what God has, blessed you with, resources, gifts, whatever. So, man, like I said, dude, I appreciate you, man. Like I said, this was just a quick vibe. I want to do these more often, man.
Man, this is great.
But like I said, congrats again to 100 episodes and more. No end in sight. If you guys want to know, go on Apple, look up on podcast, School of Hard Knocks. Follow him, tap in with him. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, he offers, business coaching and personal development. So definitely somebody, definitely assets you definitely want part of your team. So, man, y'all have a good night. Mark Knox, thank you, brother.
Class dismissed. All right, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Yep.
All right.